I've got a Orangeburg native, Kevin Rasberry, here at New Perspectives to talk about his book, Decisions and Consequences, The Realities of Being a Man. Kevin, welcome to New Perspectives.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know you're an Orangeburg native. How'd you get started in this project, putting together a book?
Well, what happens is I mentor men and boys a lot, especially men that had issues as far as like child support, domestic violence issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I began actually on accident because I used to go out and help people save their houses.
Okay.
I'm a certified housing counselor. So got to meet a couple of the guys, and they were in this fatherhood program in Columbia.
Okay.
So I just started to hang out with them and talk with them and just kind of talk to them about what I grew up with, you know, my
Okay.
father and my grandfather and uncles and such. And it began to have an impact on them.
Okay.
So I kind of carried that with me, and then, you know, men and boys just started to kind of gravitate to me.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I just kind of put two and two together.
It sounds like you had a calling on your life, and it sounds like you found it,
Right.
or it found you,
Exactly.
and you fell right into the niche.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love it. And, you know, the crazy thing is I don't even just talk to men. You know, now I've ended up talking to women.
Yeah.
You know, how to receive a man that's got those issues, you know, and how to either leave them alone or work around it.
Sure, sure. Well, you know, we've had many discussions here on New Perspectives about domestic violence, and you did mention that so many women who are on the bad receiving end of domestic violence, many of them either don't report it, don't talk about it, or don't express it. And so many men who are batterers, people who actually engage in that.
Exactly.
You know, it's like a hidden taboo kind
Right.
of situation. And you were able to begin to start talking to young people, you said.
Exactly.
And now you've authored a book. And
Yep.
you've been writing, I guess the process is just writing pieces by pieces and pieces until you are actually able to publish.
Well, actually, because I had been doing mentoring for a while,
Mm-hmm.
you know, once, you know, the idea, you know, came to me, I sat down and I had all of the different pieces then, you know, so it just actually taken concentrated time and putting everything together because I'd had it all along.
Right.
But looking at what is going on recently,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's, you know, 60 to 40%, which is a big gap to me, but 60 to 40% of domestic violence that's reported are women.
And, you know, just recently in the news or somewhere I read, 1 out of 4 women, or is it 1 out of 3? I think it's 1 out of 4 women in America has been abused or has been the victim of domestic violence.
Right.
And it goes unspoken. It goes, and in some cases and in some areas, as much as high as 1 out of 3.
Right.
And I'm glad you're doing this. The lives that you've been touching, have you been seeing any results from your direct impact or your direct contact?
Well, absolutely, because I hold them responsible. You know, I ask them for results, what's going on. I not only talk to the man, I talk to the woman. And what happens, you know, you get all the excuses. I got pressures, I'm not employed. I got, you know, this going on. You know, I got people watching me. I got all, you know, it's, you know, my father used to tell me all the time, you know, a lie, nothing to tell, and everybody got an excuse.
That's right.
I don't need any more from you. Everybody else got enough. And I try to tell them, you know, life is difficult enough without complicating it with excuses why not to live.
That's right.
You know, you have to, we got to do it the right way, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased. I've got Kevin Rasberry. He's a native of Orangeburg here on New Perspectives, and we're talking tonight about his new book, Decisions and Consequences, The Realities of Being a Man. And being a man is more than just, you know, people say, I'm a man. Young people just jump out and say, I'm a man, you know. And that doesn't always necessarily, that doesn't work.
Exactly. Well, it's, a lot of it is kind of the environment we came in.
Okay.
Being from the South, you know, we always, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, even though we can be talking to kids. You know, I call my daughter ma'am.
Would you think that some of that has to do with the fact that during the slavery period, and, you know, let's go back there for a minute,
Right.
that African Americans were not considered even to be a man or a woman for that matter.
Exactly.
And perhaps that demand for manhood came out of that expression, I'm a man. But I'm going to be honest with you, Kevin, I'm be honest, this is coming from my own experience. As a young man or young person in my teens, I thought that what it meant to being a man was how many women I dated, what my clothes looked like, or what my car might have looked like. But as you begin to get older, or even how many children, in some instances, not as far as I'm concerned, but some men felt how many children you have is what makes you a man. But then the reality hits you, and you and I both will agree, a man becomes a man when he's able to be a man, which means defending your wife or your family, raising and supporting your children, doing all of those things which embody and encompass being a man. And even though we have had some frustrations in our lives, doesn't mean you go back to the home and become the source of cruelty or disaster. I see you went to Claflin University.
Yes, sir.
What advice do you have for other people that you would be interested in, or who may be interested in publishing or authoring a book?
My advice is know your calling.
Right.
Have good research. Do focus groups. It's you can write a book from your perspective, but that's all it is your perspective.
Right.
But when you talk to other people,
interview people,
right, and you have to do it in a vast situation. You just can't interview 10 and say that's what I think. The opinion of everybody is. And so that's basically what I think, is that you have to do your accurate research. You have to be patient, especially in publishing. That's one of the things that I had to learn, is that just because somebody will publish your book doesn't necessarily mean that's the right publisher for you.
And that's one question I always ask authors when they come on New Perspectives. There's some scams that exist out there sometimes in publishing. How would you warn somebody against that kind of stuff? Do you?
What I would say is, when they asking you for a boatload of money up front, when they can't show that they use, like, say, for instance, my author has 30,000 outlets for my books to go.
Your publisher,
right, and the publisher. And so a lot of times what happens is we get excited that somebody wants to publish the book, and we don't look at all of the fine things. What about your royalties?
Right, the fine print, yeah.
Right. So and then at some points, a lot of publishers wants to change the book altogether.
Okay.
They want a different audience.
That's good advice.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
that's good advice.
You got to stay true to yourself, and that's what you need to do.
Yeah. I know that you also have a not-for-profit organization. Tell us something about that. How that whole thing is going.
The non-profit is Future Solutions. And
say it again. I'm sorry.
Future Solutions.
Future Solutions.
And a lot of what I do is I help people to save their homes.
Okay.
But at the same time, another element of it is doing financial counseling with men. Right. We have to be responsible,
because one of the breakdowns of the family structure is the pressure of finances.
Exactly.
And so I can see how you've come full circle. I want to say that the creative spirit, or the creator's spirit, has come to you and used all of your skills,
exactly,
in all your areas, and that's great to know. I know that you're good friend of the show, who is Howard Jackson.
Oh yeah,
he's the commissioner for Board of Elections here, Board of Registers, and you grew up with him in his neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
And I'm glad that you're here with us on A New Perspective. I see that you're a father. You have your children are Terrence, Yolanda, Tyler, and Donovan Rasberry.
That's right.
And unfortunately, you've moved to Columbia on us.
Yeah, but I have a permanent residence here.
Okay.
So I'm back and forth.
Are you a voter here also? Do you vote
here?
No,
I'm not a voter here anymore.
Okay. Well, that's our loss. That's our loss. But we know that home is right here. I know your parents and family members are still here. And I'm very excited about the new book.
Oh yeah.
We hope that you'll bring it to the libraries all over and do a reading here at the Orangeburg Library. Please keep us informed. Let us know when it's out, where it's going, where you're going. We met you online. You're a friend of this community, and we want to get the word out there about your book. How do people contact you?
Actually, they can contact me, kevinrasberry@gmail.com or tqsoriginals.com.
Thank you for coming to New Perspectives.